Live from New York City, it's the Gary Null Show. And now, your host, Gary Null.
Hi, everyone. I'm Gary Null. Nice to have you with us today. We have the latest on health and healing, living a longer and healthier and happier life. Today, we have a study on coenzyme Q10 and how it can help regulate your blood sugar, and especially if you have any form of metabolic syndrome, heart disease, diabetes, prediabetes. Now, coenzyme Q10 we manufacture in all the cells of our body, but as we get older, it substantially is reduced. Also, if you take statin drugs, that will deplete your vitamin or your coenzyme Q10. And we need coenzyme Q10 because it creates the energy within the cell. That's why the most is in your heart and your brain. The two organs of the body require a lot of energy for a lot of thinking and a lot of living. So you want to make sure you have at least 100 milligrams or more every day of coenzyme Q10. If you have a need, let's say you have Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, then your health professional will guide you at a different protocol level, substantially more. But for this study, it was 8 weeks long, and they used 100 milligrams of coenzyme Q10, and they saw a huge improvement in the plasma total antioxidants. And this was published in the European Journal of Nutrition at Cashin University of Medical Sciences. So what it means is this. We have, between people with heart disease, high blood pressure, diabetes, prediabetes, we probably have about 150 million Americans. Yeah, about 40% of the population, adults mainly, who suffer from these conditions. And we want to keep a more normal insulin level, a blood sugar level. And this coenzyme Q10 helped do exactly that. Also, from the University of Michigan comes a study about, okay, you overeat. Most people do at different times, especially holidays, especially when they're traveling. They're wanting to test not just the culture of another country, but the uniqueness of the food within that culture. And that's why we like Chinese food, Japanese food, Italian food, French food, etc. University of Michigan found that when we overeat, at least for a week, that really stresses our body. It's not good for us, and we all know that. But what they found is, at the same time that you're overeating, if you're also exercising, that the exercise, like a good power walk for 45 minutes after a meal, can negate much of the harm of overeating all those excess calories, especially the fat. And this was presented at the American Physiological Society's annual meeting and this was done at the University of Michigan in Ann Arbor. So what they did is they gave young, healthy students, average age, I think, was around 24, and they gave them a really overwhelming diet for a week, far more than what the body required. Similar to what the average American consumes on a regular basis, lots of junk food. But then they also had them do aerobic exercise every day, and that helps break down the lipids and prevents inflammation of the fatty tissue. And when you have inflammation in your fatty tissue, you can end up with all forms of problems, including muscle pain, intermittent claudication, pain around your joints. Yeah. So they looked at how the fat would be measured. They looked at C-reactive protein in people who do not exercise but overeat, and it's deadly. C-reactive protein, homocysteine, and fibrinogen, when it's elevated, means you have a much higher risk of a heart attack or stroke. So you want to reduce all this inflammation, and the exercise did exactly that. So they overate for a week, but they exercised, and they showed no signs of inflammation in their fatty tissue and no change in their glucose tolerance. And that's a good thing. Also, they found out that there are strong biological changes in post-traumatic stress disorder patients, and you can reverse it with talk therapy. This is from the University of Szeged in Hungary. This was published in the Biological Psychiatry Journal, and it showed that cognitive behavioral therapy for post-traumatic stress disorder not only reduces symptoms, but also affects the underlying biology of this disorder. So it's talk therapy. And they had a group of people who had post-traumatic stress disorder, and they gave them talk therapy for 12 weeks. And it substantially improved their cognition, their stress hormone levels. In effect, it allowed them to live a normal life. Today, we don't do that. We give people drugs. It doesn't take away what caused the stress. It doesn't take away the damage done to the body with elevated hormones like cortisol. And so you may not feel the pain, but it's still there emotionally. You want to resolve it. You want to understand its lessons. You want to be able to forgive and go on with your life. Talk therapy does that. That's the conclusion of this. And they also show that there were structural changes in the brain, such as shrinkage of the hippocampus, are reversible in trauma victims. Talk therapy can help normalize these alterations and improve symptoms. Furthermore, the regeneration of the hippocampus correlated with the expression of a gene that balances the activity of the stress hormone, cortisol, at the level of cells. So the findings suggest that talk therapy may modulate fundamental biological factors, changes in gene expression, brain structure, and the psychological improvement is all closely interrelated. Good news for those of you suffering from trauma and stress. Also, I've been encouraging people to eat grapes since I read a book back in 1967 called The Grape Cure, a little tiny book. It's big, right? And it was about a person who had terminal cancer and how nothing was working and it looked very bleak. And they began to hear about an old folk tale about grapes. And so they began to eat grapes and then drink a lot of grape juice every day. And they overcame their cancer. Now, was it because of that? I can't say. That's a long time ago. And it was just a person giving their experience. But it left an impression on me. So I began to research what's in a grape, the grape skin, the grape seed, the grape flesh, what's in grape juice. And I began to see, wow, there's this grape seed extract, and that's very important. It has a lot of medicinal value, and it's in the scientific literature. So the University of Colorado Cancer Center just did a study. It was published in the journal Nutrition and Cancer, and it describes the laboratory synthesis of the most active component of grapeseed extract called B2G2, and it shows this compound induces cell death in prostate cancer cells. It causes the cancer cells to commit suicide while leaving all your healthy cells unharmed. Quote, we've shown similar anti-cancer activity in the past with grapeseed extract, but now we know B2G2 is its most biologically active ingredient. Okay, so why not just do one of three things? Eat more grapes, organic grapes. Can't get organic, which are annual, meaning they're about 6 months a year you can get organic, and then you can't. But if you want to get the organic, non-organic, spray them with a veggie wash. And you spray it and you rinse it in water, agitate it 3 times. And that gets rid of almost all the pesticide that's been sprayed on it. Then take organic grape juice. That's the second thing you can do. Organic grape concentrate, which is grape juice, has had the water removed by about 1/3, so it's much stronger, more potent. And then most potent at all is the grape powder. It's where you've evaporated the juice, which is about 97% water. What you're left with is the actual healing power of grapes. So however you get the grapes in your body, that's up to you. But studies have shown the effectiveness against cancer cells and have also shown that grapes have a mechanism that can help a lot of other parts of the body, including the heart, because it's rich in polyphenols. And acupuncture, I believe in acupuncture. The scientific literature is filled with thousands of studies on the healing power of acupuncture. Well, from University of Chinese Medicine, acupuncture can treat Alzheimer's disease. An increasing number of clinical and animal studies have confirmed that acupuncture is effective for the treatment of Alzheimer's disease. There's a part of acupuncture, I'm sure you've seen the little, they burn this little, it looks like some moss under a glass on the body. And that's with acupuncture. Well, this is another alternative or complementary therapy used to treat Alzheimer's disease. And a group of doctors led by Dr. Du and his team at the university use the natural warming moxibustion and with the acupuncture to observe the action of pre-moxibustion on preventing programmed cell death in rat models of Alzheimer's disease. And it worked. So one more thing you can do, just one more piece of a puzzle. And also from Northwestern University comes a study about the rhythm of breathing affects memory and fear. Scientists have discovered that for the first time that the rhythm of breathing creates electrical activity in the human brain that enhances emotional judgments and memory recall. These effects on behavior depend critically on whether you inhale or exhale and whether you breathe through the mouth or nose. In the study, individuals were able to identify a fearful face more quickly if they encountered the face when breathing and compared to breathing out. So you breathe in, you get one kind of memory, you breathe out, you get another. Individuals also were more likely to remember an object if they encountered it on the inhaled breath, inhaling, versus the exhaling. The effect disappeared if breathing was through the mouth. This discovery led scientists to ask whether cognitive function typically associated with these brain areas, in particular fear, processing, and memory, could also be affected by breathing. And the amygdala, this AMYGDALA, is strongly linked to emotional processing, in particular fear-related emotions. So scientists asked about 60 subjects to make rapid decisions on emotional expressions in the lab environment while recording their breathing. They were presented with faces showing expressions of either fear or surprise. Subjects had to indicate as quickly as they could which emotion each face was expressing. When faces were encountered during inhalation, subjects recognized them as fearful more quickly than when faces were encountered during exhaling. This was not true for faces expressing surprise. So why is this important? Because aside from this study, there is a person, his name is Sean Bhatnagar, and he owned the Sri Center in Manhattan and Princeton for decades. I don't know where he lives now, but I know he's still alive in his mid-80s and, when I understand, healthy and continuing to teach. Came from India. His father was Gandhi's physician. I've known Sean for, since he appeared on my radio show WMCA back around 1972. In any case, it's all about the breathing, controlling your breathing. And I began to use breathing exercises when running and racing, because when the gun would go off, suddenly you're barreling out of there. You've all seen it, people going out, but then after a period of time, they get slower and slower until they go way back. And that's because initially you're breathing up here. You're not breathing deeply. And your cortisol is rushing. The fight or flight adrenaline is taken over. You're running with your emotions. And I found that was true in myself as well. But I actually learned this lesson when I was in 7th grade. I was on the basketball team. Coach Kincaid, I was on the first team, guard, and I had very high percentages of stealing the ball, rebound, and shooting until we got into a game. And nothing worked. I'd missed the basket, nothing. And after 2 games, Coach Kincaid said, "Gary, why is it you do so well in practice, but you're not hitting the basket and missing shots, layups in the game?" I don't know. He said, "Are you afraid?" I said, Well, I'm excited. I don't want to fail. I don't want to disappoint anyone. He said, then do this. He gave me a little booklet, a little tiny book. And it was all about relaxing as you compete, because the more relaxed you are, the better your competition. And he said, I just want you to keep putting in your mind when you're in a game, your practice, relax, have fun, like you do when we're scrimmaging. Well, I tried it, and lo and behold, he was right. I did well in games as I would in practice. I de-stressed. I put my mind into relaxing mode. So one day I was running a race, a short race, and I didn't do well. I was way off my training. I could train a lot faster than what I was running. And I was having trouble running a 6-minute pace when normally I go out at 5:02 and with ease. Not now. Then I realized it was my breathing. And so I spoke with Sham, and he said how to breathe deeply and relax, and the sound you make. I tried it. And from then on till this day, I use breathing. And when you realize that breathing is so important in all athletic competition, so when you relax yourself, breathe deep, put your mind in a good place and keep it there. Recently, just 3 weeks ago, Sunday, the Florida State Championships. And as I was driving over early in the morning, thunderstorms. I think, okay, get over there. Terrible thunderstorms, cold rain, and everyone's under this place and waiting to get out. And the guy said, let's start the race. It's not going to stop. And so we went out there. And I just took a moment. I just said, the rain will cool me off. So I'll be able to relax. Won't be hot. And I just kept my mind in that same place. And gun went off, went out, and did well. Set a new state record and won 2 golds. And I don't think I could have done that. I know I couldn't have done it if I was just racing on pure energy. Breathing is so important. Don't breathe through the neck. Bring it down deep, a little stronger on the exhale, and relax yourself in the process. That's the latest on health and healing. I'm Gary Null. Go to GaryNull.com, scroll down so you can get the newsletter, because all this good information is right there every morning for you. And a lot more recipes with photographs. And if I'm doing something important, like I got a webinar coming up, I'll announce it shortly on building the immune system naturally. It'll be about a 6-hour webinar. Everybody should need that and be attentive to that, because my webinars are packed with information. I have a lot of other people besides myself who are going to be a part of that. So that will be announced in the newsletter as well. It's over the air. So just go get the newsletter, sign up for it. John LaBelle will send it right out to you every morning. All right. We're going to take a break. For those of you who watch the rest of the show, we have a lot of good stuff coming at you. Please stay with us.
Are you tired of closed-minded programming? Well, look no further than PRN.Live, the home for progressive voices.